Hello and welcome back. What I'd like to do is to show you some information that I've basically received from a great teacher and mentor of mine called Reed Davis. Now, this gentleman is the founder of Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, and he has produced this simple medical and subclinical model that you can see. And what I'd like to point out are some things that we I suppose we take for granted. If you look over to the left side here, you will see the medical model, which is very symptomatic orientated. In other words, if you have things like allergies, anxiety, constipation, depression, diarrhea, fatigue, headaches, hypertension, hypoglycemia or even hyperglycemia, or over here on the other side, on the right side, infection, insomnia, IBS, nervousness, PMS, trauma, weight gain, pain, inflammation, etc., then when you go to your doctor or your GP, he or she will prescribe you a drug. And that drug at best will basically deal with the symptom. It never goes to the etiology or the root cause of the problem. It will basically just treat the symptom. So you can carry on living the dysfunctional lifestyle you have, and I'm making a generalization when I say that, but you take the drugs and you'll be okay until you get another problem. And then you go back to the doctor, and then it's just an ongoing process. The system that I have used for many years, and I think Reed has labelled it very well here, is more subclinical. In other words, what I do is I seek first to understand where somebody is, their level of well-being, and we do this by understanding how their body is detoxifying, how their digestive system's working, their hormonal balance, and ultimately how their immune system is working. And we do this by doing saliva, stool, and blood analysis, and also obviously there's questions and answers, so that we can immerse ourselves into their whole lifestyle and, if necessary, remind them how to take control. In other words, we empower, or I empower the individual after finding out where they are. Now, when you think about it, our whole bodies work on this system called balance, so let's call it homeostasis. And therefore, if your autonomic nervous system, your oxidative system, endocrine, electrolyte balance, acid alkaline, prostaglandin, blood type, let's call it constitutional type, catabolic anabolic balance, your steroidal hormonal balance, your cortisol DHEA ratios, your neurotransmitter balance, your serotonin dopamine levels, and all those other things, if they're not within the right balance, then we have a problem. You have a problem. And that problem usually manifests in the format of pain. A great teacher of life. It gives us that wonderful opportunity to look at what we're doing and say, you know what, this isn't serving me. So what do you then do? Well, the weird thing is you actually know what to do, you're choosing not to because of your environment. So mostly our environment affects us. It could be quite toxic, as in quite stressful, or it could be that I'm not making my health important to me and I just eat any old garbage. I don't have time to get to bed, so I usually get to bed after 12, etc, etc. Now, these are just simple examples of things that we do which then creates our reality, which, as you probably heard me say before, your physical body doesn't lie. It doesn't go, well, it's Monday and I think I'm going to give you a headache. And we all know that taking an aspirin wasn't the cause of not having the headache, but that's the kind of thing where I'm coming from, and you understand, is to take control, because without health, what else do you have to offer? And it's just simple, because once you make those little distinctions in your life by eating enough vegetables, enough fruit, enough organic meats, and a classic investment, if nothing else after this, is go and buy some organic butter, because all toxins are stored in fat. So, there's simple things that we can go and do which will instantly, we will take control of our health. But what I want you to do is to be aware of what we've kind of been conditioned or brainwashed into believing, that seeing doctors that live on average, if the research is correct, 10 years less than us. And don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-doctors, I think they're beautiful people. I think they're misguided as pharmacologists, as drug pushers, feeling that, just imagine if you went to your doctor and your doctor said, yeah, listen to your complaints, sure, right. Well, what I'm going to do is going to remind you how to take control, and I'd like you to get to bed by 10 o'clock. I mean, just imagine if your doctor said that, if nothing else, but just gave that bit of advice. So he said, have you thought about eating some more fruit and vegetables? I mean, you couldn't imagine it, could you? Because on a cellular level, if you don't give your body what it wants, you get sick. And we know that because 3 out of 4 Americans have a chronic diagnosable condition. I can't remember what the stats are for the UK. So, wake up, take control, and realise that there's a reason why your body's communicating to you in the format of pain. I mean, it might not be pain, it might be a rash, it might be highs and lows, it might be cravings. Or we go into labelling like ADD or ADHD, which are just bullshit terms, just so that we can give you a drug to treat it. That's why, what, 20% of 5th graders in the US are on Ritalin? And you know what's interesting? If you actually scanned their brain, a PET scan, a PET scan, and actually stuck a kid on cocaine and also stuck a different one on Ritalin, there'd be no difference on the PET scan. Zero difference. But it's socially acceptable for them to prescribe a drug for your kid because you're feeding them a cereal. Remember, become a serial killer, C-R-E-A-L? Quit feeding them cereals. I mean, these are just simple things, but take control, and you can do that right here, right now, by asking yourself a question. What can I do to improve my health? I don't think I can give you any more information than that, if you want to take control. I often say this when I start my presentations. I'll say, how many psychotherapists does it take to change a light bulb? Think about it. How many? But the light bulb has got to want to change. So when I work with people, ultimately, if they want to take control of their health, I've got to know that. They want to know that. And so I ask usually a simple question of, well, can you imagine your life without the pain or without the conditions or symptoms that you've got now? And if they say no, I said, no problem, carry on seeing your GP. I don't deal in disease, I only deal in health. But if they say yes, they can imagine their life without their pain, without their cancer, without their IBS, whatever they've got, then welcome aboard. And I'll remind you how to do it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I wish you a peaceful, loving day. Bye for now.